Hi, my name is Zoe Carter, and this is my workshop, Think Outside of the Puppet Box, available on www.zoecraftbook.com. Throughout history and all over the world, people have used puppets to entertain, communicate, and educate. So puppetry is a great way to engage with children that we come into contact with. There are many different ways of using puppets, and during this workshop I want to show you some of these different ways and to help to open your mind and to think outside of the box about how puppets can be used. Children primarily learn through play. Children love to play, and they also love to watch adults play. So, although it is important to practice, the basic foundation for your performance can be learning to relax, learning to step outside of your inhibitions, and learning to be really, really playful. And this way, even if something isn't quite as well polished as you'd like it to be, children can still really, really enjoy your lesson, and they can actually still find it a very positive learning experience where it really stays in their mind, so it's still very worthwhile doing. When people think of puppetry, people often think of popular television shows like The Muppets or like Sesame Street. This is a particular type of puppetry which involves the puppeteer being concealed behind a curtain or within a sort of booth with only the puppet showing. Now, anyone who's done this for a long time knows that this is actually incredibly difficult and physically tiring, because you sort of have to crouch down and hold a puppet above your head. Sometimes people get so overly concerned with moving the mouth exactly, so if they are trying to do this to each syllable, then their performance can become really, really stifled, because they're concentrating so hard on a particular aspect and a particular technique, which children are not necessarily as concerned about as they are. The good news is that concealed puppetry is not the only way to do puppets. Trends in puppetry are really changing. I've seen about 100 puppet shows in the last 5 years, and out of all of those, only 1 or 2 have featured concealed puppeteers. Nowadays, in puppet shows, they often use a technique with the same performer alternating between the role of narrator and the role of puppeteer. To show you what I mean, I will perform a show for you in this style. Once upon a time, there was a piece of dirt. Sticky, smelly, unwanted. This piece of dirt had a name. Her name was Daisy. She tried so hard to be popular. She put a bow in her hair. But it was no good. Everywhere she went, people would gasp in disgust and try to wipe her away. One day, Daisy got stuck to Aunt Penelope's shoe.
Ew! Water! Water! Come and help me immediately! Oh, Penelope, what's the matter now? There's this great big gob of dirt stuck to my shoe. Oh, Penelope, that's hardly a matter of life and death. Walter, you do not understand. A lady carries her whole life in her shoe. No, a lady carries her very soul in her shoe. I just don't know what I'm to do. Oh, Penelope, the solution is very simple, really. All you need to do is just give your shoe a wash. Well, where am I going to find a basin? Oh, it's funny you should ask that, Penelope. There's actually a basin right beside me.
So Penelope took off her shoe and washed Daisy down the drain. Daisy got washed into the dirtiest place in the whole world, the sewer. But soon she was going to get some company.
Oh, banana. Nom 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 nom. Oh, Coca-Cola. Fishbone. Yum, 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 yum.
Oh, pizza! Nom, 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 nom.
Yum, 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 yum. Yep. Oh, wee, help me, help me.
Joey! Joey! Oh, that horrible piece of dirt! Get away from it, Joey! Get away! Come on, Joey, let's get out of here.
Daisy's eyes filled with tears. Even the sewer rats hated her. Soon Daisy got washed out of the sewer and into the ocean. Down and down beneath the waves she sank. There was someone who had never taken his eyes off her. Oliver Oystershell opened his mouth and swallowed her up. But this was not the end of Daisy's life. This was just the beginning. For the first time in her life, she felt love. She felt oils of love running all over her, washing away her dirt and her bad smells and her hurts like the rain. She felt so safe and warm and secure. She tucked herself into Oliver's flesh and fell fast asleep. Daisy, Daisy, Oliver started to whisper softly. It's time to wake up. It's time to go outside and show the world how beautiful I've made you. Outside? Don't make me go outside, Daisy said. They hate me outside. I'm just a sticky, smelly piece of dirt. Oh, Daisy, Daisy, I wish you could see what I see, said Oliver. Oliver opened up his shell, and there inside was Daisy, the most beautiful and the largest pearl anyone had ever seen in the whole world. The king rode down the beach to get ready for his morning swim. Hoop, 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 ooh, hoop, hoop, ooh.
Hop. Oh, look what I found.
Oh, the king opened up Oliver Oystershell and saw the most beautiful pearl inside. He was going to take it to his queen. Goodbye, Oliver, Daisy whispered, and thank you.
Hop, 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 hop.
The queen was waiting for her husband on the veranda.
Oh, my king, I am so glad that you are home. I get so frightened whenever you go to sea. What with hearing about sharks
and jellyfish and riptides and litter. I'm so glad that you're so sensible about your flotation device. Now let me just take that off. There we are. Whoop. Oh, my king, my dearest, dearest king, if anything happened to you, I just don't know what I'd do. I look up to you so much. Well, oh, horsey. Off you go. There we are. Off you go. Well, when I say look up to you, I mean, what I mean is I respect you. And I respect you too, my queen, and I love you. I love you with all of my heart. You are the most beautiful woman in the world. And as a token of how beautiful you are, I want to give you the most beautiful pearl in the whole world. The queen gasped as she saw Daisy, and she put her on her necklace and wore her close to her heart. She loved her as much as she loved the king. When she grew old, she gave the necklace to her daughter and for her to love as much as the queen did. And people came from all over the world to see Daisy, who started off as a despised piece of dirt and turned into the most beautiful pearl, all because of Oliver's love. The end. So, as you can see from that puppet show, I didn't make any effort to conceal myself or to create an illusion that the puppets are alive, because from my experience, children over the age of 5 or 6 are not under that illusion either, in the same way that they don't really think that their toys are alive when they're playing with them, but they still love to pretend. Actually, having a puppeteer on display can be very helpful for children under the age of 5 who often find a concealed puppeteer sort of quite distressing and frightening because they can't quite work out what's happening. Sometimes I can spend £100 on a puppet and a child can be take it or leave it. Sometimes I can just get my cardigan and put my arm in my sleeve and put it up to my face and wave it like an elephant's trunk, and children can find that the funniest thing they have ever seen. Sometimes the sillier the object, the funnier children find it. For example, I could get my glasses case. I could put 2 goggle eyes on the front, like this. And I can make it an opening mouth that speaks like this. Effectively, you can make a puppet from anything. From toys, from household objects, to items of clothing, to anything where your imagination takes you. So now I'm going to show you some puppets that I've made from things I've found. For many of the children I work with, this is their favorite puppet. It is just a wooden spoon with goggle eyes stuck to it. We have a regular puppet show called the Spoon Show with an entire cast of wooden spoons. This is an orange glove with lion faces stuck on it. This is something I made for Daniel and the Lion's Den, but actually you could stick people faces on it and make any sort of crowd scene. This is simply a cardboard man stuck on a popsicle stick. This is a puppet which children tend to find incredibly funny. So I've got a burglar here who's trying to make an escape, and he's got, instead of legs, he's got 2 holes. And what I can do is I can put my finger through and then make my fingers his legs running away. And I think that children find that so absurd that they find it funny. This is one leg of a pair of tights. I've stuck on 2 goggle eyes. I've also put in a cardboard mouth, but you don't have to do that. And what I can do is I can make this a sock puppet or a tight puppet. So another thing I could do is I could turn it over so that you can't see the eyes. I could drape it round my neck, and I could pretend that it was just a scarf. And then, as the talk goes on, I could suddenly make my scarf become a character and crawl off my neck. And because the children are pretending with you, sometimes it's really exciting for them to pretend that you don't know that that's happening, and children love to play along. Another really simple way of doing a puppet is just to make a paper cone, and this is something where you can add features to it. You can add a face on it, or arms, or wings if it's an angel. Now, this is a little tricky to do. I was trying to make a Samson puppet, so I stuffed a pair of tights or pantyhose, and so I made the arms and the legs and the torso and the head, and I stitched into them to do the features. Now, because he's Samson, I made him a sort of removable hairstyle, so in his pre-Delilah days, he can wear it like this, and then when he meets the dreaded Delilah, and she cuts it off like this, and then he loses his strength. Now, if I'm wanting to make a character that feels weak, like Gideon just felt that he wasn't up to the job that God had called him to, I like to use pipe cleaners. So what I do is I take one pipe cleaner, I fold it in half, and I twist it about halfway down to make a head and arms. Okay, then I take the other pipe cleaner, I thread it through the head at the bottom, then I fold it over and twist it round to make a torso and some legs. Now that is just a really, really simple way to make any puppet actually, but I specifically like doing a weak puppet because to sort of show how frightened he's feeling, I can sort of tremble him and make him wibble wobble, wibble wobble. Now this is a really simple one where I've done a particular fold where I can make this lady's mouth open and close whenever I fold the cardboard down the middle. Hello! Sometimes you can wear your puppet on your head. You can make puppets using pom-poms. Now, you can get these pairs of eyes with a little hook underneath that just act as eyes for your hands. So I can make a person, I can make a chicken, I can make a fly, and I can make an elephant, and all sorts of things. In Scotland, where I live, we use a lot of umbrellas. I could take my umbrella and make some cuts into it, and then I can put it up and down to turn it into a flapping bird. There are all sorts of ways you can use an umbrella as a puppet. I could cover an umbrella with leaves, and then when I put it up, it becomes a tree. So, as you can see, there are all sorts of ways to make puppets. In churches, people often use puppets to sing along to Christian songs, and that is something that I'm sure that children really enjoy. I personally also like to use puppets as visual aids during my Bible teaching, or sometimes I will write a story specifically to illustrate the point I'm going to make in my Bible teaching, so using a puppet show as an introduction to that. What I hope you'll take away from this workshop is that whatever your age or background or personality type, everybody can learn how to use puppets in a way that is fun, educational, and engaging for children.